Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for this opportunity to contribute to what has been a robust debate. And I'm particularly supportive of Part 7 that has been introduced by my colleague Metidia Tude. What she hopes to amend is Section 40, which is the distribution of profits. And it's interesting when you read the Housing Corporation Act of 1974, because it's all about paying money into a Crown account. And how much money have we paid into the Crown account? Well, in 2014, we paid $108 million into the Crown account, and on the 8th of September 2015, we paid $118 million into the Crown account, and in fact, we'd forecast in this year's budget to put into that account $38 million this year and $54 million next year. And in answering my colleague Calvin Davis's question, based on that $126 million, Calvin, that's over 2,200 of your 100 square metre properties and over 1,500 of your 200 square metre properties that we could have built in the north. And so this amendment is actually really relevant when you look at those figures, because we could have added to the housing stock over 2,000 properties that would have housed those most in need. I want to particularly look at the functions of Housing Corporation. My colleague Adrian Rudaffair talked about 18.2a, which is about providing rental housing principally for those who need it most. But I want to talk about subsection B, which is about providing accommodation for community organisations who provide residential support services for people with special needs. And the reason I want to highlight that is because I was fortunate enough to participate in 2 sessions of the homelessness inquiry, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate my colleague Phil Twyford, my colleague Marama Davidson, and also my colleague Marama Fox for the way that they conducted that homelessness inquiry. And what I'd like to bring to the table is the unmet need that the money that will be reinvested into the primary purpose or one of the functions of Housing Corporation, the communities that will benefit most from this particular amendment. And so I particularly want to highlight from Monday's Select Committee hearing here in Wellington, the submission by Ara Taiohi. It was given by Anya Sachanan and Sandra Dixon, and specifically it focused on the exclusion of LGBTI youth and LGBTI homelessness. And I also want to acknowledge that another member of that submission group was Cassie Hartendorf, who works for Evolve. And where we got to in terms of their representation of LGBTI youth is that they're already a marginalised group. And so we have an already marginalised group because they don't have the family structures available, living on the streets, relying on, as Sandra said, people like herself who are part of the community, allowing these young people to sleep on their couches. And so one of the solutions that was proposed in the submission hearing on Monday was that actually maybe we should create a hostel that was funded by Housing New Zealand and serviced by LGBTI groups for LGBTI groups. And so that is a huge unmet need in our society. So that would be a tangible investment by this government based on this proposition or this proposal by my colleague Metidia Tude. And I quickly want to now reference the 22nd of August hearing at Te Puia Marae, and particularly want to highlight the submission by Danielle Bergen, who works for the Island Child Charitable Trust. And one of the things that she said that struck me most was that of the last 6 families that she had, 5 of them had newborn babies. And so she provides a service that aims to help up to 35 families a year, but because of restricted funding, they could only help 15. And so they bring in to a context where young women are provided with the support to know how to parent, they're given an opportunity, I guess, to create a loving bond with that child. And this again highlights a whole lot of unmet need that this reinvestment, by not putting it into the Crown accounts, can contribute to. Kia ora.
I just want to take a moment,